Hi, I'm Igor. I work at Black Rhino Tattoos. I'm also the owner. You can find me on Instagram at Igor.BlackRhino. Well, I'd been drawing my entire life. It was always something that I used as a pastime, something that I enjoyed doing, something that was therapeutic for me. Went through some things in life, circumstances that just brought me to a point where I started delving deeper and deeper into it. Some friends suggested I should try. I didn't want to, but then eventually did and fell in love with it immediately. I mainly do black and gray realism. I specifically like doing themes that are pretty dark. My main inspiration, the area where I grew up in, everybody did black and gray tattoos. That's where black and gray tattoos originated from in Los Angeles. And I was just always a fan of the Chicano artwork, the Chicano art movement. That's how it all began, and then it slowly transitioned into just kind of darker toned, maybe more, I guess people would call it like diabolical or demonic. It's been a transition over time. I did an entire sleeve dedicated to artwork by MC Escher. His artwork itself is extremely precise and consists of a lot of shapes, and mainly impossible shapes and things that simply can't exist in our world. So it was a difficult piece to do because it had to be so precise and it had to be so clean to convey what he was trying to achieve on paper. Adding it to a canvas that is curved and has different shapes and angles and crevices was very difficult to do and to maintain the integrity of the original art. I really like to take into consideration everything that the client is presenting, all the subject matter that they want to put into the tattoo. From there, depending on what kind of project it is, whether it's a sleeve or just like, maybe just a forearm or something smaller, I'll put it together in the way that I think is going to be most fitting or flattering for that body area. When I present it to them, it will always have a more unique look. My style is always put into it. I think at this point in my career, clients come to me specifically for that. Like they have an idea or they say, I want this type of tattoo or this subject matter done, but I want it done the way that you would do it. First and most obvious is that it's easy. I think everyone has this notion that we just show up and get to hang out and that it's just easy going all the time and that just drawing all day is easy. It is incredibly difficult to remain intentionally creative and to just have those sparks on a daily basis is very difficult. The word motivation itself, I'm not a huge fan of. It seems as though it's something that just shows up for you. The truth is it doesn't. It has everything to do with discipline. I think of motivation as like a byproduct of staying dedicated and disciplined, because some days you'll feel it and you'll have it and you'll be ready to take on the world. But the truth is a good portion of days you will not feel like doing anything or taking on anything. Staying dedicated is really the answer to that. I'm not a huge fan of using the word motivation. Definitely give a lot of thought to what you want to get. Go to an experienced artist and trust what they have to say because they've been doing this a lot longer than you've been getting tattoos. If it's your first one and you're unclear about what's going to look best, how it's going to flow on your body, or even if your idea, if it's doable or if it's going to look good in a certain place, definitely take the recommendation of your chosen artist. Think things through before you get them because this stuff is permanent. I like to incorporate all of the elements that they provide to me that they specifically want in their tattoo. Depending on the space we work on, we may prioritize the elements that matter the most to them and then just bring them the main points of the subject matter as close to the focal points as possible. So if someone wanted, for example, a tattoo of an angel, the most important parts of it for you to know that it's an angel, it's going to be parts of wings, parts of a face, something very angelic opposed to an entire body that may look like just some armor. How much of an angel's feet do you need to be a part of the tattoo, or how much of the arms do you need to be present if there's not a weapon or something involved as part of the design? So making sure that the main focal point of the tattoo and making sure that the subject matter is emphasized the most is the most important thing. I typically take a few days, sometimes even a couple of weeks, depending on the size of the project. It can range. I've designed pieces in minutes, whether it's for a walk-in, and some designs have taken me upwards of weeks to complete before presenting them to a client. I'll be honest, I've been doing this for so long. I have a massive amount of tattoos that have been extremely meaningful. If I had to pick one, it's too difficult. There's been a lot of people that I've tattooed, portraits of people I was close with, people that I was personally friends with who passed away, close friends of mine who have lost somebody special or who have undergone something very traumatic in their life or finally gained the courage to make a drastic change in their life, and they chose a tattoo to mark that difference and change. A countless number of tattoos that I would say are meaningful, but I guess if I could just label as to what types of tattoos are the most meaningful to me, it's always something that marks a new beginning or a change, a closure of something that's been important in our lives. I think tattoos are going to be here for a long time. They've been here for thousands of years already. They constantly change. I don't see it going away anytime soon. I feel people will always find new ways to innovate and stay on top of trends in artwork and just find inspiration from old sources of artwork that seem to always come back. I feel like my own style, it evolves and changes over the years. If you look at my earlier work compared to what I've transitioned into, there's definitely a large amount of change. I really can't say. I think just day by day and as the years go by, I'll know a little bit more as to what I'm leaning into. Yeah, I've tattooed several people's assholes before. Can I say that? It was just another piece of skin. You know, they were paying and I said, yeah, sure. At the time, it was still early in my career. I still worked a regular job on top of tattooing. So it was a do it, plus I needed the money kind of situation. I'm forever gonna be a black and gray artist. That's the beginning of me wanting to get into tattooing, was because I love black and gray. I primarily am a black and gray artist now, and I'm most interested in continuing to develop and just perfect my own black and gray style. This actually has a lot to do with how I started tattooing. I was hanging out at home with a couple of friends. I was in my early mid-20s. One of my buddies insisted that I tattoo him, and he said that he had a tattoo machine that he would give me if I just tattooed him for free. And that entire night I said no, and again, no. The more we hung out and drank a little bit more, eventually I was like, you know what, let's do it, man. You got it on you? And he was like, yeah. We went out to his car, brought the machine and everything. We're on YouTube looking up how to set up this tattoo machine at like 3 a.m. Tattooed him. It turned out fucking awful. It was a logo from some video game. I can't even recall it right now. But I remember in that moment thinking like, man, this was cool and I can definitely do a lot better than this. So it kind of motivated me to start. Whenever we have clients that bring in something from Pinterest that we don't necessarily like or we don't think is gonna look good or work well, I will present them with new ideas, something that is just an improved version of what they want, something that's more refined, maybe more balanced. I'll break it down to them and explain why that particular design may not work as intended and why over time they may not be as happy with that tattoo as they think they will be. I'd hope they say that they were happy to be done by me and that they're proud of me and that they're excited to exist and that their clients took good care of them more than anything, and that their clients are happy with them. They want more siblings, so they need to get more tattoos. Fine line tattooing is one thing, but there is a very specific trend out there that is tattoos that are so faint that I feel like they barely will survive the healing process. Those tattoos are just a waste of ink and a waste of skin, because people end up with images that can no longer be deciphered what they are as all the very faint lines start to fall out. So I would probably get rid of that. Bring back 90s tribal armbands. Bring back barbed wire. Bring back hearts that say mom, for sure. Dude, those are the best, man. That's where it all began. I've worked in many different shops, and there was something about the environments that just didn't always sit right with me. Whether it was the dynamic between people and artists or the way that they treated clients at times, just something didn't feel right. When I decided to venture off on my own, I wanted an environment that felt comfortable for me and for anyone else that decided to come and work there. In the beginning, it was just me and my former wife. We were the only two people working there. She did permanent makeup primarily. And then we hired a couple of people and they stayed on. We continued to just outgrow the shop because the environment was so good to work with. Our clients felt comfortable. Everyone who walked through the doors felt comfortable. As the shop continued to grow, we just expanded, hired additional artists, and here we are. It's the greatest place in the world, man. There is no better place than here. The environment is comfortable. The camaraderie is amazing. The friendships that have been formed here are gonna be lifelong. We're just a big family. Not just us, but every one of our clients that comes in here can feel it, and they choose to stay for that reason also, along with the amazing art that they get. I would certainly tell myself to slow down and be patient. I feel like as I got into tattooing, I wanted to go off and do these big grand tattoos, and it just never worked out. I just lacked the experience at the time. I lacked the proper techniques. I hadn't really refined my hand into doing what I needed it to do. I would tell myself to be patient and to work slower and to try to tackle one technique at a time, opposed to trying to jump into every single thing all at once. I've worked with other artists from here at Black Rhino and other shops. It was always a great experience. Typically, artists tend to be very open to learning and collaborating, so it was an experience that I would definitely do again. Draw a lot, continue to draw, and then when you think you've drawn enough, draw 10 times that, and then that'll feel like you did enough, but you really haven't, because it's a never-ending thing. I referenced earlier how difficult it is to remain creative day in, day out. Well, drawing at that level begins to feel like a chore sometimes, and because now we're getting paid for it, it's a job and we're going to rely on it, so you don't always get to draw the things that you want specifically. You're drawing for clients and the things that they want. And yes, you can add your twists and your styles to everything, but at the end of the day, staying that creative can only come from a place of experience. So the more you draw, the more experienced you are. I could get them to stop. Yeah. Hey, everybody, shut the fuck up. We're rolling. No, we're fucking, like, shut up. All right, we should be good.